free to get up and grab some grub or drink, whatever. By the way, these doors are open, and you can actually get back in. So you're free to wander around. Just don't get hit by a golf ball. But welcome. My name's Steve Roberts, and I'm married to this lovely woman, Kathleen. And yeah, so we'll hear more about the family thing. Part of my role is to do some introductions so that people have some context as to who's on first and what's on second. So I think the first thing I want to do is welcome you all. By the way, can you hear me in the back? Thank you, Lejay. Good job. Yeah, so this is unbelievable. Thank you so much from all of us. This means a hell of a lot. You know, it's interesting. Holly wanted to have a party. She did not want a funeral, and so I think she got it. And everybody, this is a joyous occasion, you know, to celebrate a life and her legacy. And so, yeah, I want to really say thank you because, you know, the weather was quite iffy, right? We weren't sure. And I know a lot of people drove up from Oregon and elsewhere. Some people couldn't get out in Nevada, so they're not here. But anyway, you all made the trek, and we really, really appreciate it. A few housekeeping items before we launch into this. You know what the food and the wine is. The bathrooms are out there. Don't go that way. I think there's an outhouse there, but you probably want to go that way. And so it's right through these double doors, right? Yeah. I'm wearing Depends, so you think I'm kidding? I always wanted to say that. Let me say something about the agenda. There isn't one. Woohoo! You know, we're here to create it. We're going to have some people, I think, that want to say something, a reflection, a thought, maybe a prayer. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, but this is like karaoke, you know, the open mic. At some point, where's Mel? Mel, you might have heard the fiddle earlier and the piano. That's Mel. And you're gonna do a piano number, aren't you? At some point, oh, fiddle. That's what we said. Okay, it's that memory thing. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so Mel is quite accomplished as a musician, and if you corner him, you might want to ask him. You were with the United States Navy Orchestra, weren't you? Hysterical. You need to talk to Mel about his experience with the U.S. Navy Orchestra. God, I can't believe we're still alive. If I haven't done so, I made reference to my wife, my better half, Kathleen, and she's the one that put this together today. So she's been kind of sweating the details here for many weeks, and thank you. Yeah, she was up at 3:30 peeling those shrimps. So. And the Stacker Trilogy has done an outstanding job. Shout out to those guys. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Speaking of trilogy, this is a nice venue. Yeah, very nice. Kathleen's brother, Tom and Lynn, came all the way from Baker City yesterday, right? Yeah. So they made the drive. Tom is a large animal vet, so if anybody has a sick cow at home,
no cows.
the half-go course.
Just horses.
Oh, just horses?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's still
okay.
retired.
That's the shoulder thing. Yeah, right, okay. You know, doing the insemination. I don't want to go there. Let's not go there. But yeah. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I do want to say something about these items here. These are memory quilts. And Sue Ellen Gerard, Kathleen's cousin. After Holly passed away in October, Sue Ellen contacted Kathleen and said, "Hey, put in a box Holly's clothes, some of Holly's clothes," and so, yeah. So.
I can say, so you have to look at that because Holly did have a sense of humor, and so some of these things are from t-shirts she wore. They just kind of express her personality, so I want you to look at them before you leave. They're really beautiful. Yeah, and then this, my cousin Melanie, who is Sue Ellen's sister, passed away a couple of years ago. This is her son. He came all the way from Houston.
Yeah, so definitely look at those. Those are nice. Holly's father, Clark and Diane, where are you guys? Oh, hey, right here. We're gonna hear from Clark later. So I've really gotten to know Clark and Diane throughout this whole process. Wonderful people. They live in McCall, Idaho. Beautiful. I gotta get over there, but yeah. So they made the trek too. Well, flight. But anyway, you'll hear from Clark. So Clark is the father of Holly. Okay. Speaking of Idaho, we got a whole contingent of Idahoans here over here on this table. Kathleen's and Clark's son is Steve, and his wife is holding baby Jackson, and their three sons, Gavin and Isaac and Henry, are at that table, and they came from Boise Thursday. And so, what's interesting, is Steve is going to celebrate his birthday on Monday. You're turning 51, right?
Yeah.
The big 5-1. Well, so Steve is celebrating his birthday, and what's interesting is he and Holly were born exactly 5 years apart. So she would have been 46. And Susan, the wife of Steve, she celebrates her birthday tomorrow, right? And she's going to be 29. I've lived a long time. Speaking of children, let me quickly introduce you to my two children, Alex and Meg. Yeah, not only you might want to stand. Anyway, that's okay. Okay, there's Meg. So Alex is a fireman. And where he got that gene from, I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of a joke. But so he's a fireman in South King County, and he lives in Leavenworth, which is a bit of a trek, I know, but he's a Leavenworth. He loves Leavenworth. And Meg just got off the plane last night from Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I don't know if I want to know, but she just a week ago accepted a position for a nonprofit in Livingston, Montana, gateway to Yellowstone. So I haven't talked to you for a week. Are you still going to take that job?
Yeah, I just took it.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Congratulations! Woo! We have to get to the father. We have the father. So Livingston is a really cool town. Yeah.
They'll come out.
Well, I'll visit you now.
Okay, perfect.
No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, where am I? Real quickly, I just want to say something about my sister, Libby. She's over, this is the Olympia contingent over here in this table. So all things Olympia, if you want to talk. Because we have a lot of people from Salem here. So we have a little, cross-border rivalry going on, Salem and Olympia. Right. So, real quickly, Libby was quite instrumental in coming up during the end. Yeah. Yeah. Where's Molly? This is the most important guy. So, yeah, Molly's the father.
Molly, stand up.
Molly man. So Molly man is the father of Jackson, which Susan is holding. Yeah.
In case you couldn't tell, they're identical.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Molly, I think, in this slideshow of when he was about 6, 8, and they just look exactly alike.
Yeah, Molly's family escaped the killing fields in Cambodia and moved to Texas, where he was raised in Dallas.
And there's quite a Texas.
Yeah, we got a lot of Texas going on here. In fact, I think we have like 7 different states. We got a lot of Washington, a lot of Oregon, Idaho. Where's California? Where's Jim and Mandy? Oh, hello. I've known these guys for a long time, 50 years. Yeah. Wow. So I think you're the only ones from California here, which is sort of unusual. But Colorado, Lejay, shout out to Lejay, all the way from Colorado, and these are a group of people back here I used to work with before I retired. So thank you guys. They're the angels on the wings, or whatever that expression is. Anyway, you made me look good. So Washington, Idaho, Oregon, California, Colorado, Texas. Am I missing a state or anything?
Maryland?
Maryland.
Was it your daughter? Philadelphia. Pennsylvania.
Don't listen to me, Ken. Don't listen to my, I tell you, these kids from Boise are like Mensa. And when I talk to them, I feel so damn stupid, you know, but, so don't talk to them. So, you know, it's interesting about Holly, you know, she was a very complicated person, I think, and a lot of nuances. And I think if you ask 30 people randomly who knew her, what word comes to their mind, I think you'd have 30 different. That was part of it. That was part of it. She was very smart. And you knew that after a few minutes talking with her, like, you know, she was also very creative. I remember once she brought home these, well, she made them. She started out with these wine glasses that were pretty gigantic wine glasses. And she wrote it, there was like 3 levels. The bottom level was, I think it was an okay day. And then the next day, at the halfway point, was a rough day. And then toward the top of this glass, these glasses are huge, it said, "Don't even ask." And so she was very funny, and she had an infectious laughter. And shoot, I left out a whole thing in my spiel, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. I really shouldn't have left this out. I wanted to say thank you to so many people in this room, because people would bring food to our doorstep. I used to look like Brad Pitt, but damn. what the hell happened to you? But all the people that would come bring over the casseroles and, you know, soups and Mel and Mary and another Mary Perot, just a lot of people, and all the people that checked in on Caring Bridge, which is a terrific vehicle for reaching out and Facebook and stuff. Thank you for all your caring and connecting. And one other group that I especially want to say thank you to, and that is UPS. Are you guys in the back? Can you raise your hand if you're connected with UPS? Look, they delivered it. Of course, they heard there was free food. But anyway, when Holly died, boy, they were unbelievable in their responsiveness, and not just emotionally with hugs and etc., but with donations that they voluntarily gave to Molly. So, having said that, I got to know Holly pretty darn well. I think it was in 2012. I'm looking at my wife. She's not even listening. She came to live with us. She was a rather damaged piece of goods at the time. She'd been living in Sweden and things didn't go well. And so she needed a safe place to recover. So she lived with us for a number of years when we lived on Mercer Island. And that's when I discovered the Holly that I got to know. And as the creative person who had so many talents. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, she never really acted on her amazing gifts. She could have been, she could have been a lot of different things. A landscape architect came to mind, a fashion designer. She was a marketing VP. I mean, she could have pursued those things and excelled. And come on in. So that's the creative part with Holly. And I must say that what happened over time, though, is that I actually grew rather frustrated with her. Because despite all those gifts, she didn't act on them. I mean, she really was a person who seemed to not have a purpose in life. I ran across a quote. She seemed to live a life without any purpose. I read a quote on purpose that said, "You were put on this earth to achieve your greatest self, to live out your purpose, and to do it courageously." Unknown. Steve Jobs said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's." I guess death gives us purpose. It reminds us that we only have so many sunsets. It's carpe diem, it's like you treasure every sunset. And so she eventually met a guy from Texas, Mully. And 6 or 7 years ago, they got married, right? Is it 7 yet? Whoa, okay. And then, they had their lives. And Molly was working with UPS, etc. And lo and behold, out of the blue, in late 2021, she told us that she was pregnant and that she was going to deliver a baby in December. And there he is. And suddenly, I'm the guy, thinking that she has no purpose. And suddenly she has great purpose. And I'm just on the treadmill of life, as if that has meaning. Anyway, she would have been a great mom.
And if I could interject, this was hers. And when she knew she was not going to live, she said, I resigned to that. This was the greatest experience of my life. And she had a home birth, seamless.
Yeah, home birth, I don't know if you heard that, but
Well,
of course, we were like, you gotta be crazy. Crazy. So this is where I get to say, I can honestly say that Holly chose a road less traveled, right? You always have to fold in Robert Frost, right, into these kinds of spiels. But she really did take the road less traveled. And at age 45, she delivered a beautiful baby. And had stacks of clothes and books and toys and a whole future ready for him. So Jackson, I will. You can tell we're married. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning. I get a kick. It's like, did you remember to close the garage door? Anyway, so the whole thing here is really, so sometimes we don't choose our purpose in life. Sometimes it chooses you. And this is what has chosen us. Jackson is now very much a part of our lives. Molly and Jackson live with us, and it's become a daily routine. I retired at the end of April in 2022, and we'd been working with our financial guy, and so this was supposed to be our go-go year, as he called them, you know, that we're gonna go see Paris, you know, and just all that stuff. Well, that's changing plans. You know, that's definitely, stuff happens. So instead of going to Paris, we're going to the Redmond Montessori School and drop off and pick up Jackson. Yeah, and Keely. Hi, Keely. Yeah. Oh, I have a thing, you know, it's just, sorry.
Deep breath, Steve.
So, yeah, thanks. So, changing work clothes, we're changing diapers. And instead of working on my slice on the golf course, we're working on teaching him to walk. So, with that, I'd like to propose a toast, actually, for Holly. And water or beer, whatever you got, virtually, whatever. To Holly for being your unique self, for going your own way, and for the new purpose that you've given us.
Cheers.
And I am done. And who wants to, Clark?
Good job, Steve.
So, Steve's still moving on the chair. I don't know how he got through all that. It's fabulous, So, Holly was born on 27th, as Steve said, of February 77. And it was, as he said, it was Steve's 5th birthday. Well, Steve wanted a baby sister, and he got one. And this birthday deal worked pretty good for a few years. And then Holly started to talk. And then it became a birthday cake. Well, first of all, that cake for Steve's 5th birthday, Kathy had baked the cake, but she had not frosted it. So I had to run the cake out to Grandma Peg's so she could frost it so we could have a birthday. So this birthday, after Holly started to talk, it became a cake with one kind of frosting on half side, another kind on the other side, and then it became 2 separate cakes, and then it became birthdays on different days. So even though you have your birthday on the same day, sometimes it has to flex a little bit. We have some more Jacksons here.
Yeah.
Good grief. This is my brother Ralph.
Jazz? Excuse me? His son Tyler?
Yeah.
And Brett? I'll get through.
And we've got Paige, and we've got Annie, and we've got Megan, and we've got Kate, and this guy, who's he? Braden. Good grief, I haven't seen you for a while. You're the football player? Okay, wow. We've got Peggy, my sister-in-law. We've got, where's Pat? Pat? And we got Danielle. Desiree, excuse me. Pat's wife. And who we forgot here? Okay. So there might be some shoestrings hiding somewhere. So as I said, same birthday, that stuff. So Holly was named after my dad. My dad wanted a daughter, and he got 3 boys. So along comes Holly, and then Paige comes a few years later. So he finally got 2 girls, and as I said, he was named after. And Dad loved babies, loved kids. She was very cute, as you saw in these pictures, as a little girl, and she came very, very beautiful as a woman. And the pinnacle of her life was being married to Molly. And then, at age 44, she became pregnant. And this little guy found it on a table. He came. And he's something really special. He was the cheerleader for her during her sickness. So we just want to thank all of you for coming. I really thought there was going to be a big brown van out here from all the UPSers. UPS has been so incredible to Molly and Holly during this illness. Just amazing.
As have his colleagues.
Yeah.
They've been really supportive.
So, some of you probably got some stories. Paige sent me an email that's just incredible. So, some of you got stories when Holly was little or when Holly was older. If you will, please feel free to come up and share those. Anybody else? Here come Donald. We used to go to their house all the time, and Donald just loved to pick on poor Holly.
My name is Don Olson, and I'm not related to anybody here except my wife and myself. But the story goes back to Clark and I. We were both in the service at the same time, and I think we met when we were getting on the plane to go over to Europe, and we flew over Prestwick and landed in Frankfurt. And so we kind of, since he was from Salem, I was from Jean, I think at that time. So the Oregon bond was there. And then once we got into wherever the train ended, and we dispersed, and we didn't make much of a connection until one day I was in German language school down in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, and that was about a 6-month deal. And my wife would, and my little blue 62 Volkswagen Bug, that at that time I paid $500 for it from another GI that was going back to the States. And my German partner in crime as to the job I had over there found this car for me. But anyway, we would drive, I would bring Shirley down to Garmisch-Partenkirchen so I wouldn't have to be in the barracks too long, and we'd find a hostel to stay in or something like that. One evening we were in Garmisch, and I think we had dinner somewhere in Garmisch, and we were walking down this street. And all of a sudden I hear, Olson, Olson. And I'm looking around and there's Clark sitting in a car. And Kathy was with him. You married her after you were in Germany, or was that before? I can't remember. Yeah, because we didn't know Kathy. I didn't know Kathy. I didn't know Clark or anything. But that was the start of the kind of the connection. So we had another couple that we were all friends with, John and Susan Zito. They got married over in Germany. Okay. I'm 77 years old. I'm not remembering stuff too well, so I'm trying my best here. So we would all get together. Clark where were you stationed up in? Pardon?
Nuremberg and then in
Nuremberg, okay. And John and I were together in Stuttgart. We were in the military intelligence group, which is, that's kind of a conundrum in itself. So we would get together, and at one point we decided we'll get together and we'll go on trips. And so one of those trips was to a place in France, over across from Alsace area or something like, supposedly a Michelin 5-star place. So we got over there, and I had just had 2 wisdom teeth pulled, and my remedy was Darvon and Jack Daniels and stuff like that. But I managed to enjoy the meal like everybody else did. But the ending of this story is that we were all present for Steve's conception. We weren't there in the room, but we were in the hotel, and so that's the story that we heard. So anyway, we both got out of the Army, and we kept in touch. They were in Salem, we were in Eugene, and John and Susan were in Albany. And we would, again, keep together. And Steve was born, he was around. And when I went up to Salem to attend hearings on workers' compensation claims, I would stop by and see Kathy and Steve sometimes. Of course, there was the one time that Steve went head first into the garbage waste can and outside, and Kathy had to pull him out. But then Holly came along, and I think to me, if Holly had a purpose in life, it was someone that I could torment. And I continually tormented Holly Ann because she wouldn't give up, and she just fell for it the whole time. And I remember Rudy the Schnauzer was one of the pets. I also remember that Holly Ann gave my wife, Shirley, her nickname, which I still call her. She called her Shirky. And so that was that story. So there was Shirky, and I became You Asshole. So it was fun. They came down, Holly, Steve, and I'm sorry, Susan, Steve's other person. We're okay with that now. Okay. They came down and visited us in California, and I kind of had noted that Holly had changed and whatever, so I kind of backed off a little bit on that stuff, which is not like me, but I did. I kind of sensed something, and I don't know, Holly Ann and I had kind of a understanding or something like that, but I think that was the last time I saw Holly, was when they were in California. So it's been a long time. Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay. So, where's that picture with Holly flipping somebody off? Because I think Donald's maybe on the other end of that picture. So, you know, as my dad said, Holly was, sorry. She was my baby sister, 5 years younger than me. And all I can remember is the day that she was born, I was out at my grandparents' house, and I was wondering where everybody was. And I was there with my Grandma Peg and Grandpa Cliff, and Grandma and Grandpa told me that your parents are at the hospital, and your mom's giving birth to your little sister. And I had no idea that she was going to be born on my birthday. And I'm like, WTF here? Like, you know, I wanted a sister, I just didn't want her on my birthday. So, Holly was very precious to me growing up. This was harder than I thought it would be, sorry. Holly was a little sister that she was always there for me, and I was always there for her, and for a lot of years until I got to be an older teenager, and then, you know what happens to teenagers. So, Holly, I can just remember she and I had a lot of fun as kids. We'd go over to Black Butte a lot with our family every year for Memorial Day, and we'd meet Tom and Lynn and grandparents and my parents, and we'd have a lot of fun, just as a family. But the thing I remember about Holly is she was just she was a very thoughtful sister. She had, she always just had a genuine interest in me as her big brother. And I will always look back on that and think very kindly of it, fondly of it. Last summer when I found out Holly was sick, I came up to Seattle as much as I could to be with Holly. When I found out Holly was pregnant, and I'd met Molly obviously when they got married, and I thought Molly was a great guy, and I was happy that Holly and Molly had found each other. And I just thought, I'm really proud of Holly that she's finally found that happiness in life that she looked for a long time. And she found her purpose with Molly, and of course Jackson as her finest creation, I think, is, or kind of how she put it. But towards the end last summer, I came up as much as I could, and Holly and I had some really special moments, and she was feisty as all get out right up to the very end, and somewhere, I don't know if the picture's in here, I think Molly might have edited it out because it was, feisty Holly picture, but she had, the last time I saw her, we were watching a football game, and somehow Holly rallied that day to stay up all day to hang out with her brother, and that's a special moment that will always be with me. And I just want to say thank you, Holly. Thank you for being my little sister.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Paige, I'm Holly's younger cousin, and I won't do any better than you and Steve in terms of the crying. I'm not great at remembering details of stories, but when I was thinking back about Holly Ann, I remember the way she made me feel. Whenever there was a family gathering that Holly was gonna be at, it was like, oh good, Holly's gonna be there. Well, first of all, I got another girl to hang out with. And second of all, I never knew who she was gonna show up as. It's like, her looks were always, she played with how she presented herself, and I looked up to her. I idolized her, and she was always a bit mysterious to me. But what I remember about Holly was, like you said, Steve, she showed interest in you, and when I would talk to her, it was like, she really wanted to know what I was doing and saying, and who I had a crush on, and what naughty things I had done that I wasn't gonna tell my parents about. It's like, she was the one I could go and gossip with and tell my secrets to and not feel judged. She was funny, and I remember Brett talking about how our goal would be just to get her giggling. I just love to hear her laugh. One of my last talks with her was around Christmas after Jackson had been born. The family was together in Blackview. She called us and we got to FaceTime with her and the baby. I was astonished and impressed. She has, oh yeah, I just want to do a home birth. So I did a home birth. Wow. Okay, and for her, I accepted that as that's what she wanted, so she did it. Oh, good job. She was so proud to be a mom and so happy for her. Just so glad that she had family with her, and I can't wait to meet Jackson and play with him. He's been playing peekaboo with him. He just seems amazing. I don't know what I could contribute, but I just wanted to say that I was blessed to get to have time with her, and glad to be here.
Hi, I'm Q. I'm Mulligan's friend, and even though I've never met Holly, I would like to tell a story, a little bit of what I know about Holly through a penguin that I know over there. And so, growing up with Mulligan in high school, he was like the biggest flirt. I never actually don't even remember meeting him, but every woman I knew who Mulligan was. And like at the time, I was like, I didn't even know how to be friends, so I would ask women, it was like, how do you even just be friends with people? And like, it was just like talking to them and being present. And then doing that with the people around school, like I'm like, okay, there's pretty girls, like learn to be present, learn to listen. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, you know Mullivan. Yeah, he's like the greatest person ever. And I'm like, who is this Mullivan? Like I still don't even remember him in high school, but somehow everything we did, like he was on a fringe of, like people just knew what he was. And after high school, we finally actually became friends. And he was the guy that I could always depend on. It's like, you know what, hey, I want to do a foam sword party. We're gonna make giant foam weapons and run around and like beat each other up. Everybody is like, oh, good. But you know, the one person who's gonna be like, I will listen to you. I will get excited with you. And I will sit and plan the most unreasonable and how we're gonna get all these other lazy slackers to get up and do it too. And there's only one person who's crazy enough to do any of the crazy adventures and get all our friends together and do it. And it was always this guy. And so whenever I see Jackson, I'm like, man, that's like the same little player that you saw before. You know? And it's not that he's even like doing it with just women. Like even last night, we were at the bar and he's sitting there and he's flirting with us, like our friend circle, with the waitresses, with all the people that's going by, and it's like, yeah, this is what it was like back in the day. And so, but there's an interesting thing that happens for people who I would say we can all relate to, like when you're like the event organizer or the one that's gathering all your friends together, or it's like, oh, everyone's depressed. All right, let's get everyone together. Let's get some dinner going. Let's get some food. There's a thing that happens, like Mullivan probably won't talk about it a lot, but I can see it in him. When you do a lot of service for people and you're always helping, you get really tired, but you can't show it. And the one thing you want is not for someone to be like, here, take this help. Because it's like honestly the hardest thing to receive help when it's the thing that you love doing. Like if you take away the very thing that you love doing, then who are you really anymore? And so what I've seen change in Mullivan recently, in the last actually few months, is he's able to actually, even though it's like uncomfortable and really awkward, he's actually asking for help and taking it. And you know, there's something really beautiful about that. Because I've seen him go through a number of relationships where it's stay up late, chatting on the phone, 8 hours a night till 6 o'clock in the morning, and then next thing you know, Mullivan's like, I'm leaving the state and I'm going cross country and I'm gonna go pick up this person who none of us have ever heard or met. And it's actually happened a number of times. Oddly, even Micah remembers going on a random trip to Alabama and picking up some person, and all of us are like, we've never even heard of this person. Like, are we even friends with you? Like, what, you're married now? What? Because he's always been I'm gonna listen to you. I'm going to feel and hear you and see you for who you are. He's always seen people, and everyone, all the friends that I know that know him are all secretly in love with him. But they're also like, he's the best friend ever. I can't be in love with him because I don't want to lose my friend. And so every woman I know in high school is still in love with him today. Because Mullivan takes the time to see people. Like really, really see people. And it kind of feels like a savior complex, but at least in my experience, there's no greater joy than seeing the truth of a person when no one else can see it. When the world kind of says that you're broken, but then someone says, no, you're actually perfect. But one thing I have noticed that happens the other way is, at least for myself, the thing that I was looking for was not to be helped or to receive help. And yes, that's been nice or whatever. And I'm sure Mullivan is, you know, yeah, it's nice to get help from people and get food and all this stuff. But something that I think is more meaningful is to really be seen and thanked deeply. And when I see the way Mullivan, because I only get to interact with Mullivan like at 1 o'clock in the morning, a.m. on through chat service after he's taken care of Holly. And after taking care of Holly, he's got an energy to him. Something about being seen. And when I can't say for sure because I haven't seen him, but I could feel it. When you're so busy trying to be a hero, just to get a thank you and to be seen and be like, I don't know why you do this, but thank you so much. And I would dare say Holly has left such an impact Because when you go around trying to do so much for everyone and you don't really think about how good it feels. It's just, you gotta take care of everyone else. Oh, we have some friends and they're out of it. We gotta figure out how to cheer this person up and get them out. Oh yeah, this person hasn't left their house in 2 weeks. All right, let's figure out how to like talk to them and like how to get them up. But like, so Mullivan, thank you for always going on adventures. Thank you for always listening to the crazy ideas and feeling into people. I know there are tons of people in this world who have been felt and seen by you where they don't feel seen. When the world says that they're broken and you're like, no, you're still beautiful. And what I have seen reflected back in return is Mullivan actually has started to see how beautiful he is. Because it's so easy to project it onto other people, but it is so hard to see it back in yourself. And I have seen Mullivan take and breathe it in. And I would dare say the only reason is Holly. Because I've seen him save other women, and they were not grateful. They didn't see the beauty for what it was, and it was also immature and young. And so I would say Holly is the first mature relationship that could match Mullivan's energy to bring him to the next level of being a hero. Not just the false savior complex, but to really bring it full circle and bring a gift back to himself. So thank you, Mullivan, for being an awesome friend, because you're actually cooler now than before, even though all the friends still talk about you instead of me, which I'm kind of jealous of. But so to Mullivan and being seen, and thank you for seeing and supporting all of us. I know in some form or fashion you probably helped a number of people in this room. Thank you, thank you. It means the world. As much as I would like to do things back for you, I'm interested to see all the wonderful things that you do for the rest of the people and the rest of the world from here on. So thank you, Holly. You're awesome.
I suppose I should be embarrassed, but
Pangy!
well, I can only think of two things really to share, and they're two stories about Holly. So, I'm from Texas, and I've known Holly for a long, long time. You ask how we met. We met online, actually, back in 1999. I was 15. Holly's 23. We made a video game, and she was a cool person. I thought, she's a cool person. Let me hang out with her, and when we stopped playing, we traded emails and we stayed in touch. We chatted, we texted, called each other, etc. So I've known her for quite a long time. Knew about how her relationships, how she went to Sweden. I just knew quite a little bit about her. We basically became pen pals for the next 15, 17 years. And I think it was about 2015. I was going through some rough time, and I just went through another breakup. Lost my godfather, just lost my job, so it was a difficult time. And so I started talking to Holly, as I always do, and started talking more and more and more. And I was like, she's a really cool person. And so in December 2015, I flew up to Seattle for the first time in Texas. Met her, met Steve, met Kathleen, and I was in love with her. So in January 2016, later that year, I flew up again to talk for the second time. And I'm not really sure how I did it, but in March, she's living in Texas, and I decided to go up to Seattle. So we road tripped, we stopped in Cortez, Colorado, and we eloped, got married, just us. And then we drove up to Seattle, and I've been here ever since. Met some amazing people. Have an amazing job, has co-workers. Yeah, and Holly was really never really sure what she really wanted to do. We were happy, we had good times, we had bad times, but Holly didn't really, like Steve said earlier, didn't necessarily have a purpose or really what she wanted to. But when we had Jackson, she felt that that was her purpose in life. She actually said that to me several times. This is the purpose of my life, was to bring Jackson to this world. And if she could have done it all over again, and she knew that this is how it would have happened, she still would have done that, because Jackson brought her more joy than anything else they can think of. And so, that's it. So, Jackson's 14 months now. I came home one day back in 2021, I think. I told Holly I just got off work. I saw a coyote and its pup, and Holly looks at me and she says, "I think we should have a baby. You know, we've been married for 6 years at this point." I said, "Okay, we try." And next month, she comes up to me and says, "I'm pregnant." And keep in mind, she's 44, so. And so she wasn't really excited initially. She was kind of nervous because, you know, she's a little bit higher risk. And so she wasn't really too excited until she saw her bump getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And she realized, this is happening. This is happening. So we were wanting to do a home birth, like Steve mentioned earlier. And that was the plan. We were gonna look for a doula, gonna look for a midwife. And we tried, couldn't find one we liked. So on December 18th, Paula wakes me up about 7:30. She says, "I think my water broke. I think I'm having contractions." "Are you sure?" She says, "I think so." She goes to the bathroom, she comes back, she says, "My water broke over the toilet, and I'm having contractions." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she wanted to go lay down. So I was like, "All right, well, let's go lay in the bed and let's figure out what we need to do next." So she's laying in the bed, she's tossing and turning under the bed until about a couple hours later, she turns to me and looks me in the face and says, "Molly, the head's out." "Excuse me? What do you mean the head's out?" So, I look, but the blanket up, head's out. It's facing me, it's looking at me. Oh, okay, so this is happening. Charlie's like, "Heads up, yeah, we do. Let's take a breath, just take a breath." So she takes a breath, and this is just, I don't know how to explain it, but she sighed, and Jackson just slid out. There was no pushing like what you see on TV, that, "Ah, oh my God." No, none of that. It was quiet, it was peaceful. Jackson just slid right out, and I'm holding the baby. And I'm in shock, and I'm holding a baby, and she can't believe it. And so I do the logical thing, I poke the baby. "You alive, baby?" The baby starts crying. It's like, "Okay, he's alive. Let's check him. 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 12 toes, cool, got it." Just checked him, and at this point we didn't know what we were expecting. We didn't know what gender he was going to be. So Holly says to me, "Well, what is he?" I look at her like she's crazy. I'm like, "He's a baby, you fool. What do you think he is? An alien?" She's like, "No." She's like, "No, stupid. Is he a boy or girl?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't pull the umbilical cord." I'm like, "Oh, he's a boy. He's a boy. It's fantastic." And we all, we were all excited. We were crying, happy, whatever. And I was like, "All right, honey, I'll be right back." Went to the bathroom, got some scissors, some alcohol, gouged it, came back, cut the umbilical cord, tied on her end, tied on my end, and snuggled in bed and held Jackson for about an hour or so. And I realized, "Oh shit, honey, the placenta's still in." Okay, all right, so I started tugging, but not coming out. So I was like, "All right, honey, you gotta go to the bathroom for this." Get to the bathtub, and yanked and yanked and yanked and yanked, and bathtub, blood everywhere. It was gross. And it was gross. It was wow. We're all family, right? We're all family. And at that point, I just told Holly, just go back to bed. Just go back to bed. I'll clean it up. I joined her later, after an hour. It was a lot of blood. And that was Jackson's birth. It was a quiet day. It was raining. And, she said to her, Holly was never the center of attention. She didn't like all the eyes looking at her or being focused on. So having a home birth is just her and I, just like how we got married, was perfect for her. That's how she wanted it to be. And so, you know, she was just very thankful for Jackson. And like I said earlier, that's exactly all she wanted. She found her purpose in life was to have Jackson. She said that to me many times. Just if it had happened all over again, I'd still have Jackson because she just loved him very much. Well, thank you very much.
Hi, I don't know if I want to follow that. I'm Shirley Olson. You heard from my husband a little while ago. I just have 3 short stories about Holly. I first met Holly when she was 4 days old. We had pizza at Pietro's, remember? And Holly was in her little rocker thing, you know, in the middle of the table, and we were just happy as heck to meet her. So I've known her since she was 4 days old. Now, Holly and I had a really nice relationship. I mean, I had to have after him, giving her crap, you know, for years. So I had to kind of always soothe things over. But I have 2 stories that I just can't help but tell. One was we were all living in Salem, and the adults decided we'd go out for dinner. So we said to Steve, who was about 8, maybe 9, Steve, you have 2 kids to take care of. You have Holly and you have Aaron. And Aaron was a little guy at that time. And Steve said, no problem, we got it handled, right? So we go out to dinner, have a great dinner, we come home, we open the door to the front door, Clark, remember? And all we could smell was gas. The house was full of gas. Because Aaron decided, you know that little turnkey thing on the gas fireplace? Well, he turned it. And we grabbed the kids and ran out to the street, and I don't know, somebody went back in, I don't know if it was Clark or Kathy, but somebody went back in and opened all the windows, turned on the fans, and finally we decided it was safe to go back in. So, again, that was number 1. Number 2, Kathleen is flying to South Africa. And she and Holly have a layover in New York. At the time we were living in Buffalo. So I found out that they had that layover in New York. And I said, I will come. And Kathy says, you know, what are we gonna do? I said, don't worry about it. We're gonna do New York. So I flew from Buffalo over to New York, got in touch with Holly and Kathleen, and I found a cab driver who really was bored. And I said, can you show us New York? And he said, sure, how much time you got and how much money you got? I said, I don't care what it costs. Here's where I want to go. So we did New York in less than 24 hours. The only problem was we hit Greenwich Village. Now those were the days when Holly was kind of in her goth stuff. And she was dressed all in black. We had to hold the back door because she was ready to jump out of the cab. So we finally convinced her that no, Holly, you don't belong here. No, you can't do that. So we got her back in the cab, finished our tour of New York, and off they went to South Africa. The last time that I really had a really close call with Holly, and Susan will remember, we're giving a big birthday party for Donald. Now Donald hates birthday parties, but everybody was there, and here comes Susan and Steve with baby Henry. Baby Henry, hi. And so we had a really great time, and that was the second time that she'd been at our house. Once in California, well, once in Sun River, once in California. But in California, the other time, we were downtown, on the waterfront, and it was Steve and Holly and Kathy and us. And we decided to buy crab. So everybody wanted crab, so we went back to our house in California, spread newspapers all over the kitchen table and the floor, and sat and cracked crap and drank wine and beer and had a really great time. Holly, for whatever reason, would look at me and go, Shirley, really? And the last time was at the coast. Kathleen had a little party with a bunch of girls. Lori, were you there? I can't remember. I think you probably were. It was just a girls' trip to the beach, and and Holly came with all of us old women, and she had a ball, and she kept us in stitches for about 3 days. Absolutely. So my girl Holly is very special to me. And again, I have a couple of daughters that I've adopted over the years, and Holly was one of the very, very special ones. God love you, Holly.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex Tkachuk. Holly and I, we were second cousins once removed. So her grandpa Cliff and my grandpa Dick were brothers. And I met Holly for the first time back in 2012, which described as being a transition period. It was a transition period for me as well. And she came to visit her grandma Peg, and I was hanging out with my grandmother Billie Jean and mother Melanie, and they lived in the same apartment complex. So I got to meet my cousin, who I'd never known before, and she was, if you can see it from the pictures, a radiant ball of energy. You can see it in the smile in the eyes. And in describing what her purpose is, her purpose in my life was being an inspiration and bringing her energy to me, and then just disappearing off of her life, and knowing that I shared blood with her, and that she was a part of my family. That was her purpose in my world, was to be an inspiration, to be energetic, and to put your energy out there. The candle that burns twice as bright, burns twice as fast. Molly, thank you for being instrumental in her purpose, and
No one else has anything to say. I can't really say anything that hasn't been said here today already. We miss her too. And she was a complicated person. But she was Holly. So anyway, I got the pink roses. The centerpiece has been, because I read the meaning of a pink rose is, I was gonna pull it up on my phone, but feminism, delicacy, sophistication, femininity, and that was Holly at her best. And I think a lot of you knew her in that way. So the roses, sad things that they are, they made a long trip from plants.com in the cold, but they got here on time. I think Holly would have liked them. And I want each of you to take one home. We don't want any of them, so please feel free to take one. And if you take it home and give it some TLC, I'm sure they'll revive. And thank you all so much for coming. It would have meant so much to all. It means to us. So thank you. It was a party, and I think she would have enjoyed it. She would have had a few dirty jokes or something to liven it up a bit. Thank you.
like those